Well, getting back to Lola vs. Kawa territory, with this being one of many episodes I'm going to be comparing with these characters, with A Star is Scorned from the Loud House and Karate Chops from the Casagrandes. I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to the Lola episode, I had mixed opinions towards this, unlike community disservice. And with Karate Chops focusing on Kawa and Adelaide together, believe me, there are a few episodes that have similarities with the Loud House that featured these characters. And after thinking about Karate Chops for a while, I think it's basically an indication that it's mainly Kawa being in this position on being the worst character, which is no surprise of how overused he is, while Adelaide ended up becoming one of the most likable characters that people wanted the Chain family to have more episodes. Well, mainly some of my followers on Twitter. In A Star is Scorned, Lola is doing everything in her cuteness for the photo shoot competition, but when Lily gets into the picture, the photographer enjoys it. It doubles the cuteness. But at the same time, it instantly overshadows Lola's picture. In Karate Chops, with Kawa being the star student on being an expert in karate, Adelaide joined in the last minute and ends up becoming superior over Kawa. Apparently this is Mary Sue levels, but at the same time, considering that Adelaide is a lot more nicer compared to Kawa, I can instantly say that this actually fits. One of the problems I have with A Star is Scorned is that it's mainly Lola and Lily working together, and as much as I understand that Lola is mostly upset at the fact that Lily is overtopping her, what I don't like is that this episode took writing tips from Canes of the Con, and I'm not even sure if this is supposed to be getting back at Lola for how she was betrayed in that episode, but at the same time, Lily was also part of the problem in that episode, and she ended up becoming the better and cuter person than Lola when it comes to the photographers. Another problem I have is that in the previous season, Lola was dealing with different pageants that are a lot more complicated compared to the pageants that she went through from time to time. So she learned experience, and she had to learn that she isn't going to be the winner, and when she lost the pageant, she didn't mind. So once we come to this episode, she completely ignored all the advices that she got from Lori in that episode. So seeing her in this position, even if it's a photo shoot competition, it's still the same results on being cute and doing something that is for photographers. And even though the pageants may center around a girl just walking down the lane or stage and then coming back, it's mainly people just taking pictures, which even if it has nothing to do with photographers, it's mainly the audience taking pictures at the end of the day when they see a pageant contest. In comparison of Carl's situation, I can understand that he had to do what he could, considering that Adelaide ended up becoming superior over him. But at the same time, even with the problems that Lola had in her episode, she ended up becoming a better character than Carla, which isn't saying much, considering that Carla dealt with less than what Lola went through. But in all honesty, knowing full well that Carla isn't the type of character that whenever he has nice moments, it isn't completely permanent, or at the very least, somewhat legitimately compared to Lola, because even if Lola doesn't learn most of her lessons in previous episodes, she's dealing with her baby, and not a baby from a different family. And for me personally, I can understand that the struggle that Lola is dealing with in this episode is way too harsh, but considering that the photographers are focusing on Lily the most rather than Lola, I'm starting to convince that the photographers desperately wanted to do a baby pageant or a Photoshop or photography involving babies being cute rather than Lola. But still, the fact that this is supposed to be considered a teamwork effort with Lola and Lily, and the fact that the photographer is just pushing Lola out of the image just to put more focus on Lily. She's mostly the problem of Lola having problems. In all honesty, as much as I do not like the tempo involving Lola at times, I can't say for a fact that I'm completely against her. I'm mostly siding with her because the photographers are really showing favoritism over Lily. When it comes to Adelaide in Karate Chops, even though that she is somewhat of a Mary Sue or in Carl's words, beginner's luck, she at least showcased that she can do karate in front of people. So for me personally, even though it may be a bit odd to see Adelaide as the superior karate player than Carl in the span of one day, it really feels like that this is what Lily is gonna grow up to be in Adelaide's age, except that she is probably still gonna go happy, knowing full well that Adelaide is taking this much more maturely compared to Carla. But considering that Carla is 8 years old, I honestly don't know who's mature at this point. Carla's plan is to swap the wooden boards with his own wooden boards that are made out of soldiers' food, while using the hardened wooden boards to Adelaide so that she won't be able to proceed, with him being back to star student. Unfortunately, once he arrives at school, his teacher shows him his own wooden boards that once you cut them, they say, "Oh yeah," which leads to Carl being in the position, well, he needs to use Breakfast Box's arms in order to cheat. In all honesty, the fact that Carl is resort to cheating just goes to show that he can't be able to do everything unless Adelaide is being the star student. Like, the difference between what Lola is going through is that Lily didn't mean to get the attention. And while Adelaide didn't mean to get the attention, it doesn't change the fact that she is a better karate player than Carla, despite being a Mary Sue. Though in comparison of what Lola ended up doing, keep in mind, Carla exposed himself in front of so many people, and when it comes to Lola's diabolical plan, believe me when I say this, it would have been a lot more worse if we actually saw what the video contained involving Lily being a terrible toddler and not the cutest thing in the world. Though this does qualify as cheating, it doesn't change the fact that she manages to stop at the last minute despite being disqualified. You know, as much as I do not like Season 4 completely, especially with the flammization of characters, I have to admit, considering that Lola prevented on showing that video to the judges in order to become the superior, cutest kid in the show, then believe me when I say this, I'm pretty sure that she would have been a lot more unlikable. Like, the problems I had with her were mainly the fact that she didn't learn her lessons in previous episodes, but considering that she did this in the final minutes of the episode, I can say that this is excusable. And since Lily is only doing this just to hang out with Lola, all the while having fun, I guess it really goes to show that Lily, at the end of the day, is still a baby. And to be perfectly honest, in one of the worst episodes of Season 5, it's mainly of how the execution of her body is really what's causing the episode to cause problems. I'm just saying, it's mainly the least of Appetite for Destruction's problems, knowing full well that there's a lot going on aside from Lily being the least of the episode's problems. You know, considering that this was the opportunity for Lola to achieve on having a mini haul, like in changing the baby while she's fighting for Lily, this would have been something like it if she ended up winning Lily at the end of that episode. And even this led to her tempers getting the better of her for the sake of protecting Lily. I'm pretty sure that anyone else will probably do the same. minus the tempo issue, minus the tempo bit. They can instantly do something else without being enraged. In comparison of kawaii chops, it's really obvious that something bad is going to happen while Kara is going to be using, while Adelaide ends up becoming superior and Kara confesses. If I'm going to be honest with you, the fact that there is no confessing whatsoever in the Loud House episode, it made me appreciate A Star is Scorned much more better than kawaii chops. And I think one of the problems involving Kara's character with him getting more episodes than others is that when he confesses, it doesn't mean much. Like, even in the later episodes, even if they do not mean 100% of what they did, at the very least they actually felt sorry. In this, even though that this is a one-time situation involving karate, I can't be able to feel sympathy towards Kara because it really feels like that he always ends up on being the bad guy rather than being the good guy that we're supposed to root for. And we ended up rooting for Adelaide, who appeals less in the second half. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's probably one of the reasons onto why it's difficult to see sympathy in Kara when he's literally doing what Lola does, but mainly in a generic way considering that he's part of the Casagrandes. Like, I understand that he may do good deeds here and there, but when it comes to episodes like this, it really feels like that it expects me to see the goods in other people, but when it comes to Kara, it just makes me see the bad in what the spin-off would have been if it focused on other characters. Seriously, Kara has more episodes than Sergio, and Sergio is worse than Kara. You know, if Kara was ever in a karate battle against Lola, who is into karate, she would definitely injure him. And when it comes to her facing off Adelaide, I doubt that Adelaide would beat her. But as far as I'm concerned, she at least had beginner's luck, while Kara will probably be in a handicap position against Lola. You know, the more I think about with an episode involving Lola and Kara together, it would definitely center around karate at most. So, it really feels weird that I gave A Star is Scorned ups and downs, but in comparison of kawaii chops that has less problems, but those problems are way too infamous and difficult to make the episode better, the Lola episode is superior, which makes it 2-1 in Lola's case on having 2 wins against Kara. You know, considering that there was fan art of Lola and Adelaide being into karate, I guess there was something good that came out of kawaii chops, but at the same time, it doesn't excuse the episode on being good. So I guess the next time I'm gonna be talking about Lola and Kara in these videos, it's probably going to happen in October during the Halloween season, or maybe before that if I can find another episode in the meantime. I'm just saying, there is further proof onto why Lola is a better character than Kara, which is really saying something. I'm giving A Star is Scorned in 7.75 out of 10, while Kawaii Chops gets a 5.5 out of 10.